So as an example, what I have called stringent on fodder testing programs that I have. So as an example, what I have called stringent on fodder testing programs that I have personally been involved with and negotiated, like Caleb Plant and Canelo, like Spence and Crawford, on average, they were tested over whatever period of time, the 12 weeks, about every 10 days. And you point these things out, right?
Yes.
And you're correct in what you're saying, but like you said, well, one time he said that they did 8 weeks. And another time,
who said that?
Talking about, you said that. And let me clarify.
About you?
I'm talking about Spence and Crawford. Now,
yes.
We're moving to Spence and Crawford.
All right, well, before we get there, Vic,
there's a contradiction.
Vic, hold on, Vic. Before we get there, Vic, I want to make sure that we just address it line by line. So hold on for a second, and we're going to clarify this, then we'll move on to Crawford and Spence. So you said that, you know, negotiations basically prolonged some time, and that's probably one of the reasons why, you know, negotiations prolonged, because you said Desmond probably had money issues as far as
that BLK fight. But
the BLK fight with
so right. The next fight's the one I'm talking about with Spence and Crawford.
Right, but before we get there,
Victor contradicted himself. One time he said 8 weeks, another time he said 12 weeks.
I got you.
I'm here to provide the clarification for
I got
you now.
you. All right, I got you, Vic. Before you get there, hold on. So my point, my question would be, and I'm sure there's fans listening all around the world that might have the same questions, even though, let's say you say that Desmond may have had, you know, financial issues. I don't want to get in the man's pocket, but he may have had financial issues that delayed some of the testing, right? Isn't it fair to say, just like Margaret Goodman told you that she can build Canelo Alvarez, that she can actually build Terence Crawford or Desmond at a later time like she did Canelo? Isn't that fair?
She could, but as far as I know, the only fighter that's ever paid directly is Canelo, and me paying for fighters. I don't know other than that any other fighters have paid direct, other than Rachel Donaire and Nonito.
Could you have, but could you have paid like you did Caleb Plant when he fought Canelo? Couldn't you have paid on behalf of Terence Crawford since he was in your program?
I could have, yes.
Okay, clear enough.
And let me tell you why I didn't. You're talking about Terence Crawford and Spence?
No, I was talking about David Ebenezer and
I could have paid, but it was such a short period of time, and I knew it wasn't going to be Paul. And Terence was saying that BLK was going to pay, and the next thing you know, it kind of got out of my control, and they paid, and it was a limited form. So
got it.
What was it? I forget the next thing.
Errol Spence and Terence Crawford.
So let's talk about that for a minute. Okay. So you said, well, look, he contradicted himself. I see one place he said 12 weeks, another place he said 8 weeks. What is it? You got to understand that when I'm saying things, this reminds me of the.
That's it right there. That's it right there on the screen, Vic. That's your tweet when you said about 8 weeks of camp.
It says 8 weeks. I can tell you that it was 8 weeks. I can confirm that now. You know, and let me tell you how I can prove that what I said on your show that day. And maybe at the beginning of the negotiation, I'm always pushing for 12 weeks, okay?
Okay.
Terence agreed. That's what we were trying to make happen. We couldn't make that happen, okay? You know why? Because Al Heyman doesn't like me. He didn't want me involved. He told the manager, the guy that was negotiating, Ish Hansen, when he called me up, and I was willing to pay, and I tried to pay. And you know what Al Heyman said, according to Ish? He said, I'll approve a budget of $60,000 if we can get Conti out of this deal. Okay? So it ended up that they paid $30,000, and it was not, because part of the reason they know that if I would have paid, I would have been demanding that they have a welcome and a congratulations. But transparency. But yes. No, Al didn't want transparency. He wanted to be shady, okay?
Okay, all right. So, but out of fairness to me though, Vic, the only reason I said contradiction is because your tweet said 8 weeks of testing with Spence and Crawford. Hold on, Vic. But you said, hold on, Vic, I got to defend my honor, Vic, because you said I said that, and I did. But the reason why I said it is because your tweet said in July, your tweet said, I think that was. Let me make sure I don't want to misquote you. Hold on, because I want the people to know that this thing.
Where did I say 12 weeks?
Well, hold on. In July 31st, 23, you said 8 weeks. When you were on, I believe you were on Coach Malachi. I'm not going to disrespect you right now because it's between me and you, but Coach Malachi's channel, I believe you said 12 weeks of testing on here. On this interview, you also said 10 to 12 weeks testing between Crawford and Spence. So that's the only reason why I said that you contradicted yourself. I wanted to, you know,
then you're correct. Then you're correct. If I said that recently,
on this channel,
at some point in time, I said 12 weeks, but then you try to negotiate 12 weeks, and you get into all this stuff, and you know I can't tell you, you know, everything involved and how it was long and dragged out, the whole negotiation between Crawford and Spence, and that was not an easy thing to do. And I'm always pushing for 12 weeks, and of course Terence had agreed to that, but maybe it was only 8 weeks. And the reason I know that, and I probably said this on your show when I said, well, that means that they were tested every 10 days, right?
Yes.
So if you, on average, not every 10 days, but on average, well, if you take $30,000 and you divide it by 2, and you got $15,000 per fighter, and you know that each time they collect it costs $2,500, that means they're going to be tested how many times? 6 times in 8 weeks, which is 60 days. That's once every 10 days.
Yes, that is
so
correct.
So 8 weeks. I said it. I was correct. Listen, sometimes, you know, I may misspeak on something. I may say something, and if I go back and I look, I mean, I've been involved in this for many, many years, and you're asking me what happened back here, and of course, you find tweets and stuff, and then when I came on your show that morning,
well, can I say something that you did say that was
bed, and I saw it went online, and Rachel said, "Hey, why don't you go on?" And I did with absolutely no preparation.
Yeah, you did. That's true. That's true. But it is something that you said, since you're going back on the last interview that we had. You did say that it's very difficult, and I quote you, it's difficult to get your own SNAC fighters to agree to do 365 24/7 testing. Now, you probably heard me on the channel say yesterday that confused me. And the reason why it confused me, because if you look on your screen, you actually said in May, on the 15th of 2023, you DM'd Errol Spence Jr., and you basically said, check your DM, respond to the VADA 24/7 365 sponsorship that you offered to him, 100% of the annual fee that you would basically sponsor for him. You said Terence Crawford has agreed to accept and participate if
and the big word there, if. You see, I said if.
Yes.
Terence. So he said, get him and I'll do it too. This is the issue with trying to get people to be the leader, to step up, to be the first one to do it for all the right reasons.
Yes.
And especially when you're preparing for a fight, you're in the middle of a camp, you're already doing testing, they're already fucking showing up at 6:30 a.m. and 10 o'clock at night. This is an inconvenience. This is not an easy thing to do. If you went through it, you'd find out, like, fuck, what, you know, I want to be clean, I want to make sure my opponent's clean, but this is a hell of a thing to go through. Waking you up at 6:30 a.m. and pounding on your door, and you got to get up and give multiple tubes of blood. So
that's what happened with Andre, right? You said Andre, they came to him 10:30 at night and 6:30 in the morning.
Absolutely.
And then I asked you, did they come see you? You said no, because you had posted the pictures up of the VADA's contracted DCOs actually collecting the blood and urine sample from them. And you said that Andre Rozier, his trainer, actually sent you those pictures. Is that the protocol of the program, where every time somebody gets tested, they have to, send you the pictures and everything when VADA come? Is that part of the program?
Most of the time I do get pictures. I ask them to make pictures because I post them on Twitter. Go back and look. I posted it. And then when they get their results back, and then about 2 weeks after they test, look at Devin Haney recently, and Andre and others in the most recent time frame where there's been fights that SNAC has sponsored. I'm posting their letters that they get saying they were tested for all prohibited substances and all were negative. So I'm trying to provide as much information and clarification about SNAC and my fighters as I possibly can.